So let's say you have a product right here that has a couple line items. So you have a check-in date and checkout date, and you'd like the dates to actually be pulled in from the Metafield. So we're going to go over how to do that with Checkout Buddy. And so we go into the app. We are in the Customizations tab, and we're going to create a line item text. And just before we go ahead, we're going to show you the product right here. So I made a placeholder product just to demonstrate, and then we can see this product has the product Metafields for start date, end date, and requires deposit. For the start and end date, we're going to pull in the data directly, and then for the requires deposit, we're going to show a static text like, let's say, requires $50 deposit, but only if it requires a deposit. And then Metafields, I just show you right here. It's start date, end date, and requires deposit. The namespace is custom, key is start date, and then end date. Same thing, just with end date as a key, and then requires deposit. Same thing, it just requires deposit for the key. And the type, it's single line item text for start and end dates, and then true or false for the requires deposit. So back to the customization. Let's start with the start date. And we're gonna say our text is start date. And then we're gonna use this syntax right here, 2 curly brackets, and inside it executes the code. So we're gonna pull in our Metafield right here with line.product metafields.custom, which is our namespace, and then our key, which is starts. Let me just pull it back up. Okay, I'm pretty sure it was at start date, not plural, so just start date. And then, yeah, so this is, I mean, it looks a bit wordy, but like you can just copy and paste the thing and it should work fine. And we only want to show this text if it has the Metafield. So we can add a display rule. We search for target product Metafield. So line item product Metafield. Sorry, that is not the one. Let's see. Target line item product Metafield. There we go, that's the one. Target line item product Metafield. And then we can delete the old one. And then we want to show this text only if the target product, has a Metafield of namespace custom, of key start date, and it is not equal to blank. So that means it has to have a value for this value to show, for this customization to show. So we create that block, and then we create our next one, which will be a line item text block again. And this will be the end date. And again, we just say end date. Use our code brackets right there, and then line.product.metafields.custom, which is our namespace, and our key, which is end date. Okay, it's stuck for some reason. I just want to double check. Products. Yep, end date. Okay. So end date, pull in the Metafield, and show only if it has that thing, that Metafield. Target line item product Metafield. Namespace of custom, key, end date. And again, we set it such that it applies if the product Metafield is not equal to empty value. So we just leave the value blank, and so it will show if it actually has end date as the Metafield. So that's number 2, and then we create one more line item text right here. This will be our deposit, requires deposit. So this item requires $50 deposit, and we want this item to show, we want this text to show only if, again, we have the, so we only want this to show if the Metafield requires deposit, which is a true or false Metafield, is true. Okay, and that is that. So we have 3 blocks right here, so we just note the block ID 8044, 8045, 8046, and we can add them to our checkout by going to settings in our checkout editor, checkout, and customize. We scroll down a bit and we go to order summary. We see checkout buddy block, we add it, make sure to check out, add it to shop bay too. So 8044. Add another one, 8045, and add one more, 8046. So they're not showing right now because it's target line item text, so this has to show right in the first lot of items in cart, the first lot right under there. 2 and 3. It's not showing for jalapeno lime because that product does not have the product metafields for these to show. So we can just demo that by going to our online store. And the product that we set up to have the metafield is the gift card. So gift card will have these metafields, and everything else, all other products, will not have the metafield. So we add, let's say, a snowboard just for demonstration purposes. Let's add our jalapeno lime, which doesn't have the metafield, and then we add our gift card, which does have the metafield. And so we check out, and then we see that only the gift card has the start date and end date, and it pulls the data from the metafield. And if we change, if we want to change how the text looks, like let's say we want to make it a bit grayer, a bit lighter, we can go back into our checkout editor and go to the block, and right over here, text appearance, we say subdued, and then we can do that for all of them. Text appearance subdued, and then one more, subdued. Also, instead of creating 3 separate app blocks, because Shopify does have a limit for 3 in a slot, you can also use the multiple blocks ID. So instead of making 3 app blocks, you can say just like 44, 845, 46, and you can stuff all those 3 customizations into one app block. It doesn't work for cross-sell blocks or anything else, but I mean, it works for most blocks, just not the cross-sell blocks or the sales blocks. But for simplicity, we're just going to go with the normal fixed block ID. So we go there, we just change the text appearance, and we're going to save that. Go back to our checkout, and we can refresh. And we see now that it's a lighter color. It's a subdued gray, kind of that. So there's a bunch more text customizations you can look over, and yeah, so this is how you make a line item text, pulling in Metafield data. Hope this helps. If you got any other questions, just feel free to email me at kyle@keeleyapps.com.